Joining us now is Donna La Scala. Welcome to the show. How are you?
Thank you so much. Well, I'm so glad to be here.
Yeah, I have this affinity for you because I used to have the same name when I was married to my husband, Tom, who sadly passed away. But every time you sit next to me, I just have this beautiful feeling of joy toward you.
Aw.
We've been friends now for a really long time.
We have.
You are so good at what you do. Divorce mediation, it seems like they would say like 50-50 divorce rate. Is it still about the same, or is it a little higher, lower right now? Like, what's the stats?
It's changing, but it's changing demographically in age groups.
Interesting.
So if you think about it, the younger generation is waiting, longer to get married and sometimes not even getting married. So their divorce rate has dropped, only because statistically there's less of them married. The highest rate of growth of divorce is in our age range.
The gray divorces.
The gray divorce, the silver divorce, however you want to call it. But it's the older people that have been married 15, 20, 25, 30, 40 years that are getting divorced. And everybody says, well, why? Why is that happening? Well, because age, lifespan is longer. So if you're 55 years old and you've got another 30 years to live, you might want to reconsider who you're living those 30 years with.
Right.
So that's kind of what's happening. But also, life changes and things happen and people are just not happy with where they are and who they're with, and they decide to make a change, and it's really life-altering.
One of the things that you suggest is that they get help with finances right away from the get-go to try to stay out of court.
Right. So not only to stay out of court, but to stop making mistakes.
Okay.
So as a CDFA, Certified Divorce Financial Analyst, my role in any divorce is either at the beginning, in the middle, or towards the end to really help people make sense of what they have, what they don't have, how it works, what should be divided, what should never be divided, and how those things actually mechanically work, as well as what happens after.
Okay. And is that on a state-by-state basis? Like New York is a 50-50 state, but it's not really because, Connecticut is a 50-50, but it's not really. All right. So what does all that mean, state by state?
So the terminology we use is either community property or equitable distribution. And it takes me several times to explain to somebody that equitable does not mean equal.
Okay.
So there's really very few things that are divided 50-50 because it's really up to the circumstances of the couple. If they were married very young, it's likely that they didn't have a long time to accumulate retirement assets earlier on prior to the marriage. So that's one thing that has to be taken into consideration. Some people come into the marriage with property, whether it's real property or investments. They come into the marriage with stuff. So how do you actually account for that stuff? And then the people that are getting divorced and families, are there young children? Are there teenage children? Are there adult children? Who's responsible for whom? Who's responsible for what? And how does that look after the divorce is actually finalized? Because when you go through the court system, they don't really care about anything other than getting that piece of paper signed. And once it's signed, they're really pretty much done.
Okay.
Unless you, as the party that's wronged, come back to them and say, hey, wait a minute, that didn't actually work the way I thought it was going to work, so let's reopen this. So that's done. But for the most part, you sign that piece of paper, sayonara, you're gone, you're done, they're no longer involved. So who's actually going to be there telling you, okay, well now you got, $100,000 of this and $500,000 of that. What do you do with it?
Sure.
And how do you make it work in your particular situation? And that's really what it's all about.
And you're able to help them. So you help them from the
Absolutely.
beginning, middle, and then a little bit afterwards.
Yeah,
Like
absolutely.
like a wrap up.
Yeah, but also, this is your new normal. Here's your path. This is the way it's going to work. But I also tell people, plan for the immediate, what's right in front of you. Plan for the short term, maybe 6 months to a year. Plan for the intermediate, 3 to 5 years maybe. plan for the long term, because things change. How old are your kids? Where are you living? Do you still need to live there after your kids are out of the school system?
Correct. You could move.
Are you in a 6-bedroom house and now you're only one person? So there are things to consider that change. And it's a puzzle. It's a puzzle. And how do those pieces fit together for you? Not your neighbor, not your brother's, plumber's, wife's, cousin.
And that's the biggest mistake, correct, Donna, if I'm right? You've
Yes.
shared that with me before. People get divorced, but they're asking for 40 different opinions instead of just going straight to the professional to begin with.
Well, it's easy when you're getting divorced to try to get information. But you have to be very careful about where you're getting the information from, who you're getting the information from. And what we really tell clients, because I work with mediators and I work with collaboratively trained professionals like myself, attorneys, financial professionals, mental health professionals, putting together the right team is the biggest way to avoid making mistakes, because you don't know. You haven't been through it. And talking to your friends, they all have an opinion. I remember when I went through my own divorce, my best friend would say to me, "So what happened today?" "Nothing." Right. And she would say, "What do you mean nothing? How could it be nothing? You were in court for 5 hours." "Nothing happened." So nobody really knows unless they're in it or they've been through it. So putting together the right team of professionals is huge. It's your first line of defense, because the best defense is a good offense. So you really need to be prepared. So having the right attorney, having a mental health professional, having a financial professional. If you have a business, having a forensic CPA. All of these different types of people help you in different ways. And I mean, honestly, most people who go through divorce go to those people anyway.
Right.
So putting together the team at the very beginning is
Makes all
a
the difference.
huge deal. It does. It
And
makes a huge difference.
Before we wrap up, what about a prenup? Does a prenup help at all?
It
A little bit?
can.
Okay.
It can, but it's also very crucial as to how it was crafted.
Okay.
Because one of the biggest mistakes that are made in divorce is not being specific enough. I sit on a lot of boards of organizations that deal with divorce, and a lot of times we get judges that come in and speak to us, and they will always say, "Please, we beg you, be as specific as possible," because if you leave things very open-ended, which sounds like a good idea because you kind of don't know what's going to happen 5 years from now, but the more specific you are, the better it is, and the better the language is, you're going to be more protected. So a prenup will work if it was crafted in the right way with the right language to take care of what it needs to take care of. We're also seeing a lot of post-nups. During a marriage, if you think things might not be going exactly the way you thought it
It's a
would,
pre-divorce.
get a post-nup. It sort of gives you the roadmap of what could happen if.
Okay. Thank you very much for joining us once again, Donna La Scala. You're lovely. I know that you've helped a lot of people, so continued success to you on your journey.
Thank you so much.
And thank you for being here.
Thank you. My pleasure.
So if you need advice from anywhere all over the world and you just want to make a call, reach out to Donna La Scala, and if she can't help you, she'll put you in the right direction. And we wish you pleasant relationships, no matter where, if you're in one, you're out of one, you're getting into a new one, whatever the case may be, or just a relationship with yourself, that it's pleasant. Be well.